I started playing with Jamie when I was about 15 or 16 maybe. And then I started playing in a different band with Dylan when I was maybe 17. And we would just do like local gigs at venues in town, and just our mates would come and see us play.
Vistas was sort of started late 2016. Myself and Prentice used to be in a band. It was sort of a natural fit because I'd already played with him before.
Dylan wanted to continue doing music, I wanted to continue doing music. So we just made a band, the three of us.
We all like playing music, and we thought, well, let's just play music together because we're mates. It's nice as well because it sort of meant we progressively got better at our instruments, and we got better at being in a band together. Even when we went on like our first tours and stuff like that, we were so naive to how like gigging actually worked.
When we brought out Medicine, that was the first song that really got any playlist additions. The reaction to that was pretty amazing. Like, people started recognising our music outside of our close group of friends.
And after we released Medicine, everything sort of snowballed from there. We got booked for our first tours and festivals, and people really started getting into the music. That song really kicked things off for us, and it's just grown from that point to everything we're doing now.
The thing that motivates me most musically now, and I suppose always, has been just, playing live and playing gigs. I remember I had no idea how you actually got a gig. Like, we were looking at playing charity things for like coffee mornings that like our mums and dads would organise and things like that. So when we actually got booked for a gig in a venue when we were about maybe 15 or 16, I just thought that was like the coolest thing. And I think that's extended all the way up to now, really. Like, I still really look forward to putting on shows. The numbers have grown, but the motivation kind of remains the same as it was when we were 15. All the headline gigs we've done have been really enjoyable. There's folk there who know your songs and really want to be there. It's really hard to pick a headline one that's my absolute favourite. Some highlights were obviously headline show at Dingwalls in London, and the Academy in Manchester, and Bellangel in Edinburgh, and St Luke's in Glasgow.
I remember we had the pre-show playlist on, and we could hear the crowd properly singing along, and we had a wee look out, and the place was packed out.
I mean, these were some of the bigger shows, and it always takes you by surprise how loud the audience is. Festivals, Reading and Leeds was really great because we were first on in one of the tents, and we kind of didn't really expect people to show up because it's early, like first band on. Well, we were on the first day and the last day, so we were kind of like, people will be either can't be bothered to come or they'll just be hungover. Both shows we played, the tents were at capacity. It was absolutely crazy. Sometimes the gigs where it's completely unexpected are the most special. I also think another reason those shows stick in our minds so much is because we played them right after we'd finished recording our debut album.
When you're in the middle of it, it's hard to take a step back and appreciate how far you've actually come.
When we were 15, we used to just have conversations. Imagine going on tour, imagine playing the Battlelands, imagine having an album. So the fact that all of this is happening within 2020 is just a bit surreal, really.
It's cementing the fact that it was all of it was worth it, being able to get from the start point to now and get our debut record out and just be really happy with what we've created.
I think even if the album doesn't do incredibly well, we'll still be happy with it. We've got this body of work that we're proud of, and in 20 years we'll be able to look back and remember the time we made it. The first song we went to record on the album was Teenage Blues. We did it at Park Street Studios in Liverpool, where we've done the majority of our work up until now. It was the first day in the studio, and we managed to get the song pretty much completed in that day. It's nice being in a place where a lot of our favourite bands have recorded. To see like up on the wall that they've got Meat is Murder, The Smiths, Silver Vinyl or whatever it is.
Days when we didn't care, never mind, it won't be long, just so you know.
That was great, that.
Cool.
We were all a bit nervous going into that session because we hadn't recorded anything in like a year and we didn't really have a concrete idea of what the album was going to be yet. As soon as we started recording the parts for Teenage Blues and worked out what we were doing, it kind of started to make more sense. I think after getting that first track down, it really reinforced that we could actually do this and make the album we'd always wanted to.
I will always be there. I will always be there for you. I will always be there.
We did the majority of it in this residential studio way down the south of England in this place called Ramsgate. It was kind of cool because it was this old converted church and you had the studio downstairs and stuff, but there was a little spiral staircase that led up, and there was like the sleeping quarters where I guess we lived for like the good part of a month. Yeah, it was nice because it was this little seaside town, so you could go down to the beach if you needed a bit of fresh air from the studio.
Recording in Ramsgate next to the seaside for such a long period of time definitely inspired some of the ideas for the album. So if you look back at the album artwork and all the single artwork, all the collage elements are taken from our time there.
Everything Changes in the End was one of the earliest songs written for the album. You write so much material to pick from when you actually record the record, and that was one that we were always like, that's definitely going on. And because it stuck around just in the definitely pile for so long, I think we just all thought that kind of fits the whole mantra of the album. The meaning behind that song has a common thread throughout everything else that's on the album, and that sort of led us to agree that we couldn't picture anything that would be a more appropriate way to sum up what we wanted to say with this record. That's why that song became the title of the album as well. We were like, yeah, let's go for that as the title and then just fill in the blanks as we go along.
Very good. Wow.
After we recorded Everything Changes in the End, we moved on to Sucker, and that's when we found our feet in the studio. I think you can hear that in the final recording.
I like it. 4 of them.
I'm a sucker and a fool when I'm in
Summer was the oldest track written for the album by quite a way. It was written all the way back in 2016. Chorale with some form of delay.
Whatever that is probably the sound, isn't it? Defo those effects.
And the demo for that was done by me on an iPad. I think it's really nice that a song from right back when Vistas pretty much started has made it throughout the full journey. I'm dead happy that it made it onto the record.
the seasons when it starts to snow. We felt like he's returned to go, but I know that you're safe, and I can feel.
when you got to do the backing vocals, but you're still in the middle of giving a fortnight. Shout!
Yeah, we're ready.
Shout! Shout! Shout!
Sometimes songs don't change a lot from the original demo to the final recording, but two tracks that really took on a whole new life when we took them into the studio were You and Me and Shout. Both of the demos were kind of missing something that gave them that Vistas quality. As soon as we started laying them down in the studio, they just went up a whole other level. It's a good feeling when you're able to hit the exact right mood and feeling for a song, and I think we got that on You and Me and Shout. When you're in recording an album, it can sometimes be easy to forget about the album tracks and just kind of focus on the singles, which I think is why it was such a welcome surprise when we got to actually recording those two tunes.
That's top class.
Holy, some fucking fancy crackers going on in here.
My favourite song on the record's 15 Years. Funnily enough, when we were in the studio, it wasn't even written at the time. I remember midway through, maybe near the end even, it was about 1 in the morning, Prentice was just in the next room, just playing guitar and he was writing the song. He showed us, he said, what do you think of this? To me it was a no-brainer, I was like, we need to record that. That's it, was brilliant.
Because it was written while we were in a studio recording our debut album and, you know, everything that was going on around us, I was in a position where I was feeling very lucky and fortunate to being given the chance to get to that position. And that's what the song's about. It's about being thankful for all our fans and thankful for everyone and everything that allowed us to get from, you know, the start point to where we were and where I was, like, sat in that moment writing it.
My favourite track on the album was Sentimental.
Right, strapped or caster?
Sentimental is a song about being on tour and about missing home. It kind of fit the mood of the studio really well and how we were all feeling. We'd all been away from home for quite a bit at that point. It's about missing home, but also about missing being on tour as well, I guess, and the fun you have there.
You know what? Just in your head, just sing Give Prentice the bass guitar. Give Prentice the bass guitar.
I think that was quite good, yeah.
I believe that shit done. For your recording?
Yeah.
Was that for you, Richard?
Yeah, Rushy, but I'll give you that.
Alright, you done?
Cool. You just go out the room. If you hear any bass being laid down, don't worry about it.
It's only lately you told me you stay just a little bit longer, older, feelings revealing an ocean. I won't be nothing without it, I hope you know.
It was the funniest to record because I just remember there's this one part near the end of the song where all of us were doing gang vocals. I just remember we said to everyone, just shout the words as loud as you can. And we listened back to the recording and you can really specifically hear Jamie just singing.
Jake and Jamie, are you singing it? Yeah. Or are you shouting it?
Shouting.
Outside the borderline, it's hard to find your place inside. It's coincidental that the drugs don't work the way the man when you're outside the borderline, it's hard to find your place inside. Woo!
Got you now, yeah.
I can be over in 9.
No, 2 verses, chorus, and that's us.
You like to cover up, say it on mine, 'cause I was blind, but I can see truth. Are separating us now, it hurts, it's for the worst.
We really like how the record flows as a body of work, and I think we got the track listing right for sure. But when we were in recording, we actually recorded some extra tracks that didn't make the final cut. So yeah, who knows what will happen with those.
progression in it.
Remember when I met her that day in November? It feels like a lifetime and nothing at the same time.
There's Barcelona.
You were in my daydreams even when the day...
The song that changed the most is probably the last song on the album, November. It was originally played on a electric piano, like a Vox Continental sort of sound, and we knew that we liked it. We knew that there was something good about it because it still had the big outro, but to get to that outro, the first part of the song was just didn't really sit right. We know that the ending is great, so let's just work on the front half of the song. So totally rewrote the chorus, moved it much more onto the guitar. For the outro of that song as well, there's so many layers. There's about like 15 layers of guitar, there's about 7 layers of keys, there's 6 or 7 different vocals, and then you've got the bass and the drums underpinning it as well. I'm glad we saw the potential that song had, and we continued on with it, and we were like, yeah, let's make this much more of a full stop for the record. Maybe my favourite song on the album, and I think it just rounds off the whole thing really well.
Right at the last moment we had the idea to just repeat the album title over the outro.
The first track on the whole record is Everything Changes in the End, and then the last lyric that's said on the whole album is Everything Changes in the End.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. That's your debut album.
Okay. Ready? It feels like a lifetime and nothing at the same time. You were in my daydreams even when the day seemed like I was never gonna win or get any of the little things that mean a lot. I got higher hopes than I ever did before as November turns December. You remember that you need each other more. Okay. Ready?